Go
Okay.
ahead.
Uh, Good morning, Harley. It's glad to be here with you. I'm with the world famous Harley Smith, and I'm Brandon, the organic mechanic with Kelp4less. And we're just going to try to get together once a week and just have conversations about the industry of growing plants, soils, nutrients, experiences, and just little things we've learned on the way that could, help some of our customers and some of our fellow growers.
Mhm.
So, without further ado, Harley, it's good to be here with you, my friend. How are you?
Thank you, Brandon. It's good to be here. I'm looking forward to this. Once a week, get to spend a little conversation with one of my heroes, one of my friends, personal friends, and a colleague. We've taught each other along the way a lot about organic biostimulants and plant nutrition, and I'm happy to talk to you and share some of our stories and experiences with others.
Ah, yes, it works both ways. And yeah, we've been friends for a while and we worked on projects with each other. And yeah, you're one of my heroes too. And whenever I have some hard things to figure out, you've always been there with me, and I try not to bother you too much. And you've been a great friend and a great associate. And I think we've had fun, figuring things out together. And let's just
Mhm.
keep that going, but try to help as many other people as we can.
Yeah. Hey, remember when we first met? Do you remember the trade show
I do,
in
at
Novi?
the trade show in Novi.
That's right. I remember walking by the NPK booth, and you were there,
That's right.
and I saw all
Uh
these
huh.
products, all the different organic biostimulants and some specific nutrients, and I said, "Wow, this is great! What a display!" And then I saw the yucca, and I said, "Okay, these guys know what they're doing. The yucca extract, that secret ingredient that I was using in my biohydroponic fertilizers." And I asked a few questions to the people that were there. They couldn't answer it. We said, "We have somebody in the back," and you came out, and we started the beginning of some great conversations together. That was pretty fun.
I do remember that well, and I do remember we conversed for quite a while, and I've been in this industry for quite a while myself, and it's so
Hmm.
rare you hear someone talking about bricks, and you brought up the bricks, the sugar level in plant, and I was so excited because someone is looking at things the same way I am, and that was the first thing that triggered. Wow, this guy not only does he know what he's doing, he also knows all these inside things to plant health that everybody seems to overlook.
Hmm. Oh
I
yeah,
was excited.
bricks is so important. It's an indicator of the health of the plant, right? The more efficiently
Uh,
plants take up water and minerals, get into the plant, the more chemical reactions the plant does, higher the bricks. And if you can grow such healthy plants that the bricks is at 12% or higher, the organic gardeners tell me sucking insects won't even recognize them as food. They'll go someplace else because the plants have so much stored energy they can fight off the pests very or much more quickly. So yeah, bricks was a big deal. And in my classes that I do, that's a common theme. It just keeps going round and round, with plant nutrition too. The first thing I do when I go into a greenhouse, if I'm as a consultant, check the bricks. If uh, if it's lower than what I expect, the very first step is adjust the potassium to nitrogen ratio. You know, either lower the nitrogen because they may be overdoing it with nitrogen, right? A lot of people do. A lot of growers make that mistake, or raise the potassium ratio for more carbohydrate metabolism. So I do that first until I start getting the bricks up, and then I go to the biostimulants to bring to once I hit a new threshold to try to increase it even further. So yeah, oh yeah, bricks is. Someone recently called me a brixaholic, I think, one of my students a couple of weeks ago. Yep.
That's good. That's good. I first became aware. Um, I went to a couple agriculture seminars because that's kind of my
Oh, nice.
background is on the farm and agriculture. And Arden Anderson was there, and I got to have dinner with him personally. And then a really good friend of mine, Robert Pike or Bob Pike from Pike Agri Supplies, he was another
Hmm.
really master composter, really into bricks. And I had the privilege to spend a week with him. And it's in the big farm agriculture world, it's really hard to um, um, have the tools necessary to help bring the bricks up. In a large acreage or a large uh, a farm facility, you really have to do a lot of work early to plan ahead, and so that into it, just finding things we could do on a large scale agriculture just to help bring those sugars up in the plant. And so, that led me into this industry with you, in the greenhouse industry and controlled growing industry. And so it's so refreshing to once again, find someone that's trying to do that as well at the same time.
Hmm.
Very good.
Yeah, I've been in the hydroponics industry now professionally since 1995. So that's 28 years. And when I started, I was just working with schools, introducing teachers and students to hydroponics. And man, at that time, did you not? In 95, we were importing more hydroponically grown produce than we were producing here domestically. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm in Michigan. So, right across the river in southern Ontario, in the Leamington area, there was more hydroponic vegetable production in that one county than the entire United States. They were
I'll
ex.
be
So
darned.
here we are, the United States. We're importing food, we're exporting jobs, and exporting money. So I knew from the beginning there's a future, there's a need here. So I started out with that, but that was just the minerals. That was just all the essential elements and spoon feeding, giving the plant exactly what they need, the right aeration, the right pH, and getting great results, right? But that was only part of the story. We still back then I still didn't know about the organic biostimulants. That came a little bit later on. But once I
Right.
got that, learned that science, learned about how the plants and microorganisms have co-evolved on the planet to help each other thrive, and I learned about extracts from those. Then it just changed everything. Uh, so I made some of the very first, Brandon, I made some of the very first biohydroponic fertilizers from other plants, where it combined the minerals and the biostimulants. So all the essential elements are there in the right proportions, but then the biostimulants aided with the uptake of those nutrients. Oh, wow. Talk about healthy moms, healthy mother plants. Um,
Huh.
and here it goes on from there. So you
That's a
started
that's
out a
a
lot with,
that's a
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's a little bit of delay here, just a slight delay. I have to get used to that. But you started out with production agriculture. Wasn't your father a big inspiration for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I was born and raised on a farm ranch. We did some exotic animals, grew hay and had pastures. And yeah, it's my father that kind of decided he wanted to be able to grow good feed. He wanted to grow the best feed, especially with some exotic animals that you're raising. Um, you just can't feed them, you know, just anything. And, they have, a lot of different mineral needs because they're wild and things like that. So he started experimenting with just putting dry minerals on, mined minerals and harvested minerals and, you know, minerals that have carbon attached to it and things like that. And he's the first one that kind of taught us to feed the soil. And,
Mm,
and then introduce new biology. And he was really influential in our area here of having the first, biological or biostimulant uh, uh, commercial fertilizer business, and it was hard going back then. That was the 70s, and
Mm,
learned a lot through that. A lot of the knowledge that I've obtained in my life has been from mistakes and failures. And
mm, mm,
it took me a while to understand the relationship between the biology and the minerals.
mm,
And, the biological side is one aspect, the chemistry side is one aspect. But
mm,
sometimes chemistry can change when you introduce biology. And that's what we learned is just having that balance, because what goes on, in a test tube laboratory doesn't work the same in soil. And so
mm,
we have to be able to have that whole system of chemistry and biology that have one ecosystem where it works in conjunction with each other. And that's kind of where all my experience comes from, is just trying to find that balance.
mm. Well, that's what I've been doing too. The whole goal my, in my in my career has been to improve the nutritional value of food, to improve the medicinal value of the medicinal herbs, and to stimulate the plant's natural resistance to pests and disease. So that for to stress, to pests, to powdery mildew, but also to grow high brix, nutrient dense food.
Yeah.
I think that, our grandparents had more nutritious food than we eat today, partly because it's so highly processed, but partly just the way it's been grown. You just throw on more nitrogen, throw on more NPK, fumigate the soil.
Yeah.
Not a good plant for plant nutrition. Um, but so today, a lot of the food that we have is high in calories, but low in nutrition. So I'd love to see that turned around. I've found ways to do that. When I did some of my first experiments with the organic biostimulants and and the minerals together, chemistry together, I did tests on leaf analysis, where we took leaf samples, sent it to the lab, and to see what the amount of all of the essential elements in the leaves. When I added the biostimulants, Brandon, every single essential element was at higher levels than the control.
Hmm.
It's higher nutrition, and some of it, especially the trace elements like iron, copper, manganese, and zinc, they were at higher levels in the food, and the brix was higher too. So some of those trace elements turn on enzymes that we need that are in our own bodies to fight off stress and stress resistant and to be healthier. So yeah, uh, we have, we really need to make some changes if we're going to make the world a better place for our children and our grandchildren, I think.
Oh, well said. And that's a good reason why I want to do this with you once a week, just to visit, to kind of help, spread the movement, share what we've seen, because it goes back to you that if you're able to do this in a hydroponic controlled growing
Mm-hmm.
environment, not
Mm-hmm.
too many people not too many people can do that, get hybrids and hydroponics. And so that's where your work is very important, because it's astonishing that it gets overlooked so much. And you're the master at that. And I have to give you all the credit in the world, because I need soil to be able to do that.
Right.
And you're finding
Well,
ways to do that in hydroponics.
yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about the biostimulants. It works either way. When I made my first biohydroponic nutrient, where I combined the two, the soil growers were the ones that were coming back to me and saying, "Wow, this is working great in the soil." It's because the biostimulants, yeah, they speed up metabolism of the root cells, great, improve the uptake of nutrient, but they also speed up metabolism of microorganisms, beneficial plant growth promoting rhizobacteria that are already there. But they become more active as they're feeding on exudates. They're making more biostimulants to aid with the uptake. So yeah, they're either way. If I take the extracts, biostimulants, and give them directly to the plant in hydro, we'll get higher brix. If we feed them the soil and feed the microbes. They're going to make digestive enzymes. They're going to unlock the nutrients in the soil and make it more available. It's a win-win either way.
Yeah, that's great. Earlier in my involvement in the organic industry, where I was at, we had one of the nation's largest organic dairies in my backyard. And luckily enough for me, a group of individuals that I was working with, we were able to work quite a bit with them and, uh, keep the whole back then really organic was just getting figured out. There wasn't a lot of people talking about it, wasn't a lot of people, I guess, consuming it. So it was just starting to get big. And so I'm very fortunate that I was able to be a part of the process of figuring out some of these organic methods as far as fertilization, the minerals on a large scale organic farm. And of course, back then it was just compost, 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 compost. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I learned something. The more compost we were putting on, the lower the brix. We were lowering the brix by excessive compost.
Oh.
And with my good friend Bob Pike, we were able to discover it's because all of the chlorides and the salts and the sodiums we were hauling
Mm-hmm.
in with all this compost was worse than any type of salt-based nutrient you would put on, just because of the amounts. But that's what we were taught, and that's what we were doing. And so I did there's an interesting experience that goes on. These big organic dairies, some of them have a washout lagoon. They have a big water pit, and it's like a lake. And
Mm-hmm.
every time the cows come through and be milked, they clean the stalls out and clean, the.
Uh-oh. Hey, Brandon, I lost you. I lost your input here, your audio and video. So lost your connection. See if you can reconnect. I want to hear the end of the story. What happened next? Yeah, the lagoons. Yeah, well, I'm waiting for you to. Oh, here you are. You're coming back. Hey, Brandon, your microphone is off. Your microphone's off,
Okay,
or at
let's try
least it's
that.
not. There you go. Okay, let's try it again. Hey,
Okay.
you were saying about the runoff is going into the lagoons. It's part of their. And,
Into a lagoon. Uh-huh. And
yeah.
so this lagoon was set up that we could pump this water onto a field. And
Mm,
I think we were doing it was a hay crop, a grass hay crop, and the
mm-hmm,
only input that crop got was the water from the lagoon. And it would pump straight lagoon water. And anyway, I went out and tested the brix, uh, a couple weeks before harvest, and it was 19 brix. Never seen
nice,
that before.
nice.
19 bricks. And I'm thinking, what in the heavens is going on? So I went to the lagoon, I took a sample and brought it back. And what we figured is um, all the salts and sodiums and everything was leaching to the bottom of that lagoon. And so what
Mm,
you had was this nutrient rich water on the top that's biologically active. It's truly organic. And anyway, when I took a sample, it was like pumping a 20-20-20 analysis, about 100 pounds of 20-20-20 analysis on that field every week we would pump. So that's what really
uh,
taught me, boy, nutrients are important. You got nutrients and biology, you can get high bricks. So I learned a lot just from looking at the type of inputs we use. And so that got me searching out. We need different inputs that will help achieve that mineral quality and that, the high bricks in plants. It's not just salt-based nutrients. We need, more organic, biologically active type nutrients. And so that was a
mhm.
great lesson I learned. And 19 bricks, I would squeeze the sap and test it. It would be so high. I'd never seen it, so I called my friend Bob Pike and told him
Hmm.
what I was witnessing, and he said, "Lick it, lick the sap." And I'm like, "You want me to lick
Hmm.
the sap?" He's like, "Yeah, you lick the sap." And I licked it. It tasted just like sweet
Sweet.
syrup.
Hmm.
Neat
Yeah, I
story.
have my bricks. Yeah, that's really cool because in my own gardens, yeah, at home, I'll do, I use the bricks meter, yeah, of course, but sometimes I just snap a leaf. The first fully developed fan leaf near the top of the plant, it's in the light. Just take it off and just touch it to the end of my tongue. If it's sweet, I don't make any changes. Oh, good, the plant's doing this chemistry. I'll just get in the way. If it's a little astringent though, maybe a little, I don't know, I wouldn't say sour, but puckering. Say, maybe I
Hmm.
adjust, maybe a little PK boost here. Maybe I need to add a little bit of a supplement. I'll just tell one quick one. We're probably going to have to go here in a minute, but um, my
Okay.
first test with bricks, I first tested personally. Sue and I, for a while there, were doing a little side hustle. We were growing romaine lettuce in hydroponics, and we were selling it to the local stores, the local restaurants, in maybe a 30-mile radius. Well, anyway, at that exact time, when we started doing that, I got hold of a biostimulant product from a vitamin manufacturer out east. It was an amino acid blend with kelp, basically. Okay. So I said, well, I got this. Let me add it to the reservoir. And it smelled didn't smell real good. It smelled sort of like broccoli on the edge of going bad. I went, uh-oh, Sue's going to kill me. Did I kill the crop? And I went, I was looking for it. Oh man, what did I do? I shouldn't experiment on Sue's crops. But the quality of the lettuce was in NFT, it was in hydroponics, with just that little bit of additive. The brix was off the scale for premium quality. In fact, the brix was so high above premium quality that statistically I'd have to create another category for it. We called it, gourmet quality. Every store, Brandon, and every restaurant that saw or tasted that produce bought it at 20% above premium price. Not one no. It was full of flavor. I mean, you could taste it. I mean, you don't need to know the bricks. You could just look at it and taste it and know this is something special. You could taste the peppery. You could taste a little bit of the bitter. You could taste, of course, the sweet, and not one single no, even at the higher prices. So, yeah, that was one of my very, very first experiments. And I said, I'm onto something here. I had to do some research, had to do some lab stuff, but we were able to apply that to a variety of plants.
Well,
Okay,
let's
anything else
stick to
you
that.
want to talk about before, or just to finish up here?
No, that's a great way to end this. And let's, on that note, let's try to share our experiences as we do this through the weeks with other growers to help them get to that point too. More
Right,
nutritious, higher bricks. That's a good place to start. And I think the more education that people have about that, they just need to think about it. Is what I'm going to do going to increase mineral uptake? Is it going to help the end product? I think that's important. Um, that's that'll be a
yeah,
great topic to continue.
yeah. And since we're in the summer right now with a lot of the heat waves going on, being able to use some things like the kelp and humic acid to improve the stress
Hmm.
tolerances to heat before the heat wave. If you know a heat wave is coming, there's ways you can help the plant to stay green longer and recover faster. We should probably talk a little bit about that over the summer too.
That's a great point. And the pest pressure you talked about on the relief of the insect pressure with high bricks, I've seen that personally many times.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen some agriculture fields harvested with very high bricks in the plant, and the harvest equipment was just covered with aphid. I mean, just covered. There was aphid. Not one plant damage on any of the plants. not damaged at all, but they were there, but they weren't eating. And so
Mm-hmm.
I have plenty of examples like that. So pest resistance and heat resistance, it's all related. So yeah, that'll be a good topic to cover next week.
Okay. Yeah, let's don't give it all away our first time. We've got a lot to talk about and a lot of weeks ahead. So this was fun. I enjoyed this. Little bit of the technical glitches. You dropped out a couple of times on your internet connection. You might want to talk to Brody about that this week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the coming weeks with this podcast. So let's I'm going
Yeah.
to turn off the recording now, and we'll talk for a second, and then wrap it up.
Okay, this was so fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm so excited we're able to do this. Thanks for taking the time. You're my first inductee into the Hydroponic Hall of Fame.